Okay, welcome. Good morning, lovely students. And my name is Dr. Jafar Jafarov. I'm an assistant at the Department of Finance and Economic Theory. I'm an economics instructor, so I provide the introduction to economics. Today we are going to conduct an interactive lecture, which will be mainly about the third lecture, the principles of economics. As an ordinary version, so we provided the lecture with my lovely students, but due to the coronavirus pandemics and due to some issues, legal issues, so we provide the lectures via online, and that's because please concentrate on our presentation, and after the presentation I will provide this presentation lectures as well as lecture notes with my students. But any case, so this is not just only the agriculture university students, this is also for all the people, for entire the people who are engaged with the economics and who are engaged with the principles of economics. So they are interested in to learn, and they are trying to improve their economic background and etc. Okay, let's start to go the principles of economics lecture. Before starting the presentation, I would like to congratulate all my citizens, all my nations, because of the liberation of our occupied lands by Armenian forces, and I congratulate all our citizens and give the condolences for our martyrs and their families. Okay, let's go to the presentation, the third lecture, and the principles of economics. Let's first see the course outline, such as the objectives. The first, we will talk about the essence, the nature and the classification of economic resources. We will talk about that, what are the economic resources and how they are emerged, and the types of economic resources and how we classify them. And then we will explain about the factors of production and what is a factor income. I will later explain about them. And then you know that in economics, if you study economy, if you are dealing with economic processes, so you need to identify the three basic economic questions. Right now I don't want to tell. In my slides, next slides, I will explain you the three basic economic questions which cover all economic identifications. And later on I will go to the production possibilities curves, and we will identify that if you have the limited resources, what kind of products can you produce, and which one should you give the preferences if you want to increase or decrease the production volume, so which one you need to give the preferences. So in the production possibilities curves, we will explaining on that. And later on that I will explain about, I will identify with you that opportunity cost and how does it emerge, and what is that economic efficiency we get from the opportunity cost. Opportunity cost, this is an important issue in economics because some people are not caring about them, mainly the university students, mainly the teenagers. They are not caring about the opportunity cost, but if you want to change your job, if you want to change your position, if you want to go to another place, another country, then you are not going to calculate your opportunity cost. That's because sometimes you lost it. So you go to Canada, you go to United States, you go to European countries, but you don't calculate your opportunity cost. So this is a main issue we are dealing to take today. Let's start with the, okay, before starting the references, so of course, due to time limitation, we cannot provide all the details with you, and you can use some references where you can get the lots of expanded details. Husseinov Salahov Introduction to Economics textbooks. You can get from the finance department as well as from the Library of Agriculture University, or you can get the McConnell Economics Principles, Problems and the Policies textbook, as well as you can get the Grigory Menchu, The Principles of Economics, 5th edition. So you can get lots of details about them, and as well as Samuelson. So Samuelson Economics book, you can get more details. Let's start with the presentation. First, the essence and the classification of economic resources. So economic resources, what are they? They are the factors. They are the factors in producing goods or providing the services. So in other words, they are the inputs. What are the inputs? The inputs are used the resources in producing another goods and the services. Produce another goods and providing another services. So they are going to create other things. For example, this is the good, but the resources are in what other things are behind on them. For example, the labor, there is a capital. In order to produce this market, so you need the capital. You need the money. In order to produce this market, you need the labor. In order to produce this market, you need some facilities, machineries, equipment, and a computing system, and for the manufacturing. So you need also land, which we call in economics the land. And of course you need some designs which is dealing with entrepreneurship. So what do we understand? The economic resources, it comes from the Latin word. It means that initial capital, it means that reserve, it means that source. And so economic resources, they are used in producing another goods. For example, in your home, so you add, in order to get the ground meat, you need to add some bread, onion, potato, meat, and etc. So then you are going to process, and finally you get the output. So when you add some ingredients, these are the inputs you add for processing. And finally you get the output. You get the output, and which we get the output, the ground meat. And it is the same. It is similar in economics. So you put all the economic resources. Finally, you get some final goods, final ready goods, which are going to consume. So economics itself has been defined as the study of how the society manages, how the society allocates its resources. You know, in our previous classes, we explained about that the main basic problems is to use the scarce resources in order to satisfy the desires, willingness of people. So this is the basic problems of all countries, to satisfy the people needs and the wants with the limited resources, because in society we have the limited resources and the unlimited needs and the wants. So economics, it is defined to study how the societies are managed these scarce resources in order to satisfy the willingness of the government. So the resources, as I mentioned, that these are the initial capital which are used. These are the sources. These are the reserves that are used. In the production of another goods. So in economic literature, you can find out that we have the four type of economic resources. So economic resources divided the land, divided the labor, divided the capital, and divided the entrepreneurship skills. So all these are dealing with the economic resources. Let's start with the land resources. So land resources, these are the all natural resources, and it's viewed at both the site of production and source of raw materials. Originally, you can understand the land, it refers to the Earth's surface. But economics, it is a little bit expanded version. But in economics, it is little bit general ideas. What does it mean? It means that land in economics is a term which is used in very wider sense. And according to the Professor Alfred Marshall, he defined the land as the materials, as the forces which are the nature gives us, provide for us, and all the people are using them. For example, sun, for example, land, soil, for example, air, for example, light, for example, heat. All these are the natural resources which are useful and they are scarce. So, in other words, if you are telling it differently, so land stands for all the natural resources which yield in income or have an exchange rate. So, let's see the characteristics of the land resources. Land resources, first characteristics is it's fixed in quantity. It's fixed in quantity. It's said that land has no supply prices. This price of land prevailing in the market cannot affect its supply. So this price may be higher or lower, and its supply remains the same. So the second characteristics of the land has the origin indestructible proportions. So next characteristics of the land have the lax mobility in the geographical sense. So lands are not the same in one places. They are differs and they have the different categories according with their mobilities. That's because the main characteristics of land, for example, in United States and in Azerbaijan, land is not the same with they don't have the same fertility. So they are different from each others. They are different from each others. And second one is the labor resources. Labor resources. And the labor resources, what does it mean? It means that what do we understand the labor? It's a mental, it's a physical, or it's a human resources and human effort provided in the creation of products, which is paid in wage. And labor, it means that physical, mental, or manual, which is done for the reward. And according to the Alfred Marshall, labor defined as the exertion of mind or the body undergone partly or wholly with a view to some goods or services other than pleasure derived directly from the work. If we are talking in generally, a person who is engaged with producing apples for the hobby is not the laborer. But if the person is dealing with the production of rose apples for the sale, that is engaged with the laborer one. So what is that? Characteristics of the features of labor. The labor cannot be separated from the labor one. So because it deals with the person. Hence a laborer has a cell in his laboring person. So if you change your position, then the person takes also his labor with him. That's because labor and the laborer, they are going together. So labor cannot be separated from the laborer one. The second characteristic is labor is highly perishable. So it's a more laborer cannot preserve his labor. So you spend your physical attitudes, physical body exercises for one product, and after finishing these products, your labor is gone. So you need, it is not delivering in the future. So you cannot preserve your labor and you cannot deliver it in the future. So a day without work in a worker's life is lost forever. So you cannot charge your labor and you cannot use for tomorrow. Labor have a weak bargaining power. Labor is perishable. It has no preserve. It has not preserved price. That's because the laborers have to accept a low wage rather than being the unemployed. So, for example, you are a teacher, and so if the wage is in order to have to be unemployed, so you can accept a low wage as well. You can work in other places. So the laborers have to accept the low wages in order to call it an unemployment one. So the supply of labor changes slowly. Supply of labor cannot be calculated immediately, even if this wage fall down. Even if this wage fall down. So this is due to the fact that laborers must earn their substance in somehow. And if we converse it, increase in labor supply depends on the new births and a long period of training sessions. So labor is not so mobile as capital due to differences in language, environment, race, habits, educational level, and etc. in different localities. In economic literatures, we divided. In economic literatures, we amount of the labor available for a country, it depends on the two factors. First factor is quality of labor, and second one is the quantity of labor. And of course, both of them are depending on the different characteristics. What are these characteristics? These characteristics, it means that, like, let's see that first qualitative aspects of the labor. You see, the person in Japan and the person in Azerbaijan, their labor is not the same. Why? There could be some distinguishing characteristics. First one is maybe race. Second one could be religion. Third one could be educational level. The next one could be maybe welfare activities. The next distinguishing characteristics could be maybe organization or equipment sites. So maybe in Japan, the person is well equipped compared with the other countries. So sometimes the people are telling why Israeli people or why Netherlands, they are well, they are good in labor compared with other countries, because they have the maybe organizational issues, maybe well equipped, maybe educational level, maybe welfare, social welfare level, so maybe labor organization. These are maybe climate could be, because in agriculture, in Pakistan, in other countries, maybe for the rice production, you can force lots of laborers comparing with the rice with other countries. There could be also climate conditions in order to use lots of or less labor one. So maybe could be the environment also about the qualitative aspects of the labor. So what is the division of labor? So you don't forces your labor, your physical or mental activities the same for production. What does it mean? For example, you are going to dealing with the furniture production, and not all the people are charging their laborers the same. So some of them are, for example, in the furniture production, some of them are coloring the woods, some of them are repairing the woods, some of them are using the machineries. They are not spending their laborers the same. That's because division of labor, when we are making an article and split into the different, imagine that a professor writes, you are writing an article You are writing an article. When you are making this article, you are splitting up into the several processes, such as collecting the data, or maybe it's processing or analyzing or using the methodology or data sciences. So you are including all data with the details and etc. etc. You're writing the conclusion and etc. So 2, 3, 4 people are coming together and they are writing down an article. Yes, writing down an article. So this is the same. This is the same. For example, in our groups at university, teacher, students, course tutor, these are also use these people are using their labors. So it's not the same. Teacher labor and student labor is not the same. So you're coming to the lecture, you are taking notes. The teacher provides the lecture. Teacher is taking the notes of students and etc. So you see, all when they combine, then we can talk about division of labor. Yes, and what does it mean? What is the advantage of the what is the main advantage of the division of labor? The first advantage is a large-scale production. Imagine that we have 10 people in here in the manufacturing process, and 10 people are doing the same things. So is that possible to increase the cell production? No, because the same things, the same people, they are doing. But if we want to increase the production scale, so we need some different ideas, different approach. So these are, maybe we need some new designs. Let's imagine you are producing the compotes, like a bağdan compote. So you need to design, if you want to increase your production scale, you need some designers, you need some maybe techniques in order to increase the taste, or it's delicious, or is it delicious or not? So you need to use some different methodologies and etc. to add some ingredients and etc. So that's because you see the same people is not with the same people is not possible to increase the production scale. So the division of labor helps us to make the large scale production. The second advantage of the division of labor, it means that it increases the productivity. So 10 people, like the same educated people, the same labor, they are only just producing. They are only just producing, for example, tomato. And every year they get maybe 1,000 ton, and then you bring other laborers, such as, for example, processors, or maybe tomato storage officers, or maybe some of them are designers and etc. So you bring to the production process, and you see that you are still gonna to have not just only the tomatoes as the raw materials, tomato as the intermediary goods, also tomato as the final goods, such as the tomato paste. So you are still making your tomato paste. In our previous classes, I told my students that in Azerbaijan, we are producing the cotton and selling it as a raw material. But if we have the textiles in Azerbaijan, and we can reproduce it, and we can sell it and get the more incomes, revenues for Azerbaijani budget, and a lot compared with the selling the raw materials. The same things, you know, division of labor. And division of labor also give the preferences to increase the productivity. The third one is, there is one phrase, right man in the right place. You know what this means? So in tomato producer, they don't know about the processing process. Processing man is not dealing with the with the production sphere. So right man in the right person. That's because these are the main characteristics of the qualitative sides of the division of labor. And what are the disadvantage sides of the division of labor? Disadvantage, the same things. The people are doing the same things, you know, or maybe monotony life. So monotony, it means that you are doing every day the same things. So you are doing monotonous life. So actually I don't like it. Maybe I'm a flexible person. I'm not the monotonous one. So some of you guys may be also the same. And monotonous life, it means that you are disadvantaged sides of the monotonous life is you are doing the same thing. The second one is the mobility of labor. These are also the disadvantaged sides, the mobility of labor. And next one is the vertical mobility, horizontal mobility. These are the disadvantaged sides of division of labor. The next factors of inputs or next economic resources is capital resources. Capital, it means that it consists of the human-made goods or the means of production, such as buildings, such as machineries, such as equipment or other infrastructures which are used in the production of other goods and services paid on interest. So guys, capital resources also divided into physical capital and the finance capital. So physical capital is divided the capitals which are used in creation of producing of other goods and services, such as machineries, such as equipment, such as apartment facilities and etc. So finance capital, these are used for the securities and the credits. In some economic literatures also it is called the debt capital. So the last one is the entrepreneurship resources. What does it mean, the entrepreneurship resources? Entrepreneurship resources is an activity where the entrepreneurs, they are adding some values, like additional values for the production. What does it mean? There are an innovative person, there are new ideas, they in new ideas, new opinions, and new designs, and all these are dealing to increase the scale production in order to make the profit. So, you know, in economics, in business, we are telling that every economist, every businessman, the main goal, the main objective is to make the profit. So, all your activities should deal with the making a profit. In other case, you cannot you cannot produce, because if you are going to have lots of costs compared with the incomes, then you cannot start with the process. So they cannot start with this business. The entrepreneurs, the main objective is to make the profit. That's because entrepreneur is a person who adds some additional values for the production, who are using the factors of production with other factors of production, such as land, labor, and capital. Entrepreneurship also as some part, and used in production sphere. So we define it the economic resources into 4 parts: land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. So land, all the Labor, it's mental or physical or manual. Capital could be all the facilities, all the infrastructures, buildings, as well as with the financial resources and investment resources such as assets. And entrepreneurship, it's new ideas, new design, new design, or maybe new approach. And etc. Capitals are the financial resources, or maybe facilities, or equipment, and labor. Labor is divided also into two parts. First one is the human resources, and second one is non-human resources. So human resources are the management and the labor. Yes, so as a human resources like management, so you manage something, some operations, you manage some processes, and the labor, so you are using your mental, physical, and the manual. You are using your mental, physical, and the manual skills. And non-human resources, these are also call it technology, or the capital, the technology. Mental. Okay, anyway, so non-human resources are technology, and use the machineries, yes, machineries, and etc. So, and capital, land ordinarily is used the Earth's surface, but in economics it's a wider version. Land are the resources where we call it natural resources, and is used for site of production and source of raw materials. So guys, we talked about the economic resources, and we divided into two parts. And now let's go to what are factors of production and impact and factor incomes. Yes, factor of production and factor incomes. So all the involved resources, their main aim is to create the income flows. Yes. Why do you produce? The production? Why do you produce any goods and services? Because to get the incomes. So all these economic resources, they are focused on to create the income flows, and they are called the factors of production. Individually, these are the resources, but when they combine, when they come together, and when they are dealing with the production, then they are called the factors of production. The factor income is the flow of income that's derived from the factors of production. The land. Is it possible to take the board from the close? Emin, taskan yaxından götürə bilir Emin? Okay, great. So land, the income is called the rent. Labor, the incomes of labor, we call it wage. Capital, from the capital we get the income, profit. From the entrepreneurship skills, we get the entrepreneurship income. Entrepreneurship income. So these are called the factor incomes. What are the factor incomes? Factor incomes, they are derived from each factor of production, and they call it rent, wage, profit, and entrepreneurship incomes. From the land, we give for rent and get the rent. So from wage, so you are using your labor and get the wage. So the capital, financial resources, facilities, all these bring to you profit. So entrepreneurship skills, you are selling your ideas, your design, your opinions, you get the entrepreneurship incomes. So all these are the general inputs used in production of goods and the services in order to make the economic profit. So income statement formula, gross profit margins, as you can see here. I don't want to write down on the blackboard because it's already mentioned in here. Profit margin, if you want to calculate the gross profit margins, and you need to get the gross profits divided the sales. The sales, it means that how much the volume of production. So the value of sales, I'm sorry. So how much you sell and get the income. Gross profit, you divided the sales, multiply the 100%, and then you can get the rate that how much is percent of your gross profit margins. So operating profit margin, if you want to calculate the operating profit margin, so you find out the profit and then divide the sales, multiply with 100% and find the values. The next one is the net profit margin. So first, if you want to profit divided the sales and multiply with 100% and find out that how much is your net profit margin. Margin, it means that so your benefit total benefit, how much is used in the it means so how you put your pocket. So you, first you gross, this is a total, this is the operating, this is a net in your pocket. And certain objectives are the three basic economic questions. You know that in our previous lessons we already talked about economics is dealing two problems. The first, not two problems. Economic deals with the problems of how to satisfy the needs and the wants of people with the limited resources. Sometimes we cannot satisfy it because always your desires, your willingness, your needs and wants always higher compared with the limited resources, compared with the resources, and these resources are scarce because money, you have only 10 manat, but you want to do everything with 10 manat. So your resource is scarce, and after 2 or 3 activities, your money will be spending on, your money will be lost. That's because the people are facing with the scarcity problem. When they face the scarcity problem, they need to make the choices. When they make the choices, then they need to answer the 3 basic questions. What to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce. So if you have 10 manats and you need to make the choices, you need to start implement your activities, your willingness, your needs and wants, first you need to think that what should I produce? So what should I eat, or what should I produce, and how I will do it, and for whom I will do it. So if you are a company director, if you want to make a new product, then you need first to think that what to produce, because there are lots of daily products, and you need to think about that. What we will produce. And then you need to think about how I will produce it. So what kind of things I will use, what kind of factor of production I will use it, so raw materials, where it will be gone, so where I will, so you are making a plan. So you are planning. So for whom should we produce it? So who will be your customers? So who will buy your products? Then you need to answer all the three basic economic questions in order to satisfy the needs and the wants of people clearly. And production possibility curve. Possibility curve, it is an interesting one. What is that? It means that, imagine that you have the limited resources, but resources. 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 50,000. You have the limit, but you want all the orange and the apples to buy it. Yes, to produce, or maybe you have not right. So you need to make the choice which one and how. So you need such a kind of a graph for two products. In here, for example, you want to produce the costumes, costume or suits in here, or shoes in here. So you want to produce both of them, but your resources are limited. You need to distribute your resources among these products. So which I give more preferences? You make such a graph, and then you are dividing your resources. In this graph, point is B1. Why? Because in the 20,000 orange and 120,000 apples. This combination point, this equilibrium point is the production possibility point. Which we call the production possibility curve. You see such other points in here. There's this one, and this one. What are they? If I want to produce more orange, if I want to produce for 35,000 orange, then I need to decrease my apple production, because resources are limited and it should be distributed among the products ordinarily, properly. So if we want to increase, for example, the shoes in here, we need to decrease the production of costumes, because only 35,000 if we have, imagine like that. Okay. Imagine that I want to make this graph in here, okay, and for example, any products like shoes and costumes, like suits. I write down here the suits, and I write down here the shoes. Yes, and so I have the limited resources. How much do I have? I have the for example, okay, 1,000 manat, 100,000 manat, and I want to distribute it. For example, shoes is one cost is like, for example, 10 manat, and then we get the 10,000 shoes. if I get. But if the suites is 20 manat, then I get the 5,000 suites. Yes, and this is a properly division. So if I want to spend all my money for the shoes, then I need to 10,000 shoes, and for the suits 5,000 shoes. So and I have here, for example, I divide my money properly in here. For example, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, and 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, and etc. So let's see that. If I wanted the 10,000 shoes, compared with the 5,000 suites, yes? Okay, yeah, write down the 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. And then 10,000 shoes and 5,000 suites. And here is my point. Here is my point. And this point, it means that my resources here, my resources is the combination of 20,000, is covering the combination of 20,000 of orange with 120,000 of apple. If we want to increase the production of orange, like 30 or 35,000, then we need to decrease the production of apples here. But if we want, for example, if we want if we want to make the same with the apples and orange production, you see, we cannot cover all these points. It means that we don't have such amount of money, and that's because these points is out of this line. And this line is called the production possibility, and it makes us, it gives us the clearness of the possible products is produced by given amount of money. The last one is the opportunity cost, and opportunity cost, it means that sometimes the people are trying to use to represent the potential benefits, such as an investor, such as an individuals, or business misses out of when they're choosing one alternative ones and over the another one. So the idea of opportunity cost, it's a major concept in economics. Sometimes we need to identify it. Sometimes we need to identify the opportunity cost. And here let's see that what does it mean, opportunity cost? Let's give an example. So opportunity cost, if you are changing your job, sometimes people are just only calculating the incomes of new job, but they are not calculating of what kind of job you lost. I am working at a university as a teacher. For example, I get the 500 manat, for example, 1,000 manat. This is just an example. And 500 manat, and if I find a new job, for example, 1,000 manat, then I calculate, oh, I have the 1,000 manat incomes now. So in this place, 1,000 manat, for example, 500 manat, and the new job is 1,000 manat. 500 manat, my expenditure was the 100 manat per month, and I was spending the 100 manat. My cost was 100 manat per month, and 1,000 manat. This job is located. In other place, and I have lots of cost. Now I spent 300 manat, per month. Yes, per month. So sometimes people are considering that this 100 manat is higher than the 500 manat. This 1,000 manat is higher than the 500 manat. No, if you are thinking as a rational person, what does it mean? A rational person is always dealing with the brain. You are always considering that not by heart. You are always considering with your brain. So you make the decisions with the rational one. So you're thinking, which one brings me lots of money? So this 1,000, you spend the 300 and you get the 700 manat per month. 700 manat profit, like income, okay, income. But you're spending the 400 manat income. Yes, because the 500 manat. Now, if you are getting the 1,000 manat, then you lost this job. You need to consider this job as your cost, because you already lost this job. If you stay in here, you get the 500 manat incomes. That was your income. Now you are calculating this income as a cost. So you have the 500 manat cost plus how much? 300. 300 manat cost. Totally you have the how much? 800 manat. 800 manat. I'm sorry. So 500 manat. You minus this 300 manat, because still if you change this job, still you will cost this one. You will spend this 300 manat, and then you have the 200 manat. 200 manat cost, and finally, what do we understand from these combinations? Opportunity cost formula, you can see in here, return on best foregone option, you minus that return on chosen option. So if you enter the university and trying to be an economist after the 4 years, you are spending some amount of money. I always recommend my students that so if you want to be an economist, if you want to be a economic like representative, then enter the economic section. So if you are not interested in economics, then you can go maybe sing a song. You can be a singer. You can be a football player, or you can be a good basketball player. So you spend your time starting in economics 4 years, and you spend your time, your energy, your resources, and maybe in somehow, I'm not talking all the students, just some people, the same, not in our university, okay, in Harvard University, in other European universities, American universities. So if you are not interested in this subject, then you spend your 4 years, your time, your energy, your resources, but you can get, instead of these 4 years, you can get maximum benefit. How? Maybe you could be a good basketball player and earn maybe the $1 million after the 4 years. So, but you are spending your resources here. When you are considering that, should I enter the university or not? First, you need to calculate what you lost within these 4 years. Yes? You need to calculate what did you lose. Okay, opportunity cost and economic efficiency. So as I know that we come to conclusion about the lecture, what I wanted to just check all the things together. So we explained about the economic resources. We divide. I just want to just paraphrasing all the lecture materials, maybe within the 10 minutes, shortly. So what did we understand? So we talked about the economic resources. We divided the economic resources into 4 categories: land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship skills. So we explained about that all these categories are individually called the resources, but when they are combining each other and then used for production, then they are called the production of factors, factor of productions or production factors. And if these production factors individually or combined together, if they bring the incomes, of course they bring, so their incomes is called that land incomes, call it the rent, capital income call it the profit, entrepreneurship incomes call it entrepreneurship incomes, and the labor incomes called the wages. So these are economic resources. Then we talked about we talked about that three basic economic questions. From starting the economics, I'm always just mentioned that economics dealing with the satisfying of the human wants and the needs with the limited resources. It seems impossible to cover all the needs and the wants of people because we want everything. If I ask from these operators or from our designers that do you want to go to space or do you want to travel to Turkey or the United States? Of course, yes, because everyone wants everything. I also want everything, but my resources are limited. That's because in order to answer these three basic economic questions, you need to clarify your limited resources in order to satisfy your unlimited needs and wants, which we call the desires and willingness. So these three basic questions are called the what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce. If you want to produce this market, first of all, you need to clarify that what you are going to produce. So you are producing a market, yeah, for writing down on the board. So how will you will you produce? So how will you combine all the factory inputs, like inputs? Like how will you attract the resources, capital or machineries? How will you use it? How will you design? How will you get the connection with the people? Where will you get the raw materials? For whom? And then later on, you need to think about for whom you are going to produce. I always give an example to my students that imagine you are going to open a pub, like a disco club, in somewhere of the city. But in this territory, they are always, almost the older people. So if you are opening the clubs with the older people, then of course you will not make the profit. Because you need to answer these questions that for whom you are going to produce, for whom you are going to sell your products. So you need to identify it. Production possibilities curves, why did we explain about that? Because we know that you have limited resources and you are going to produce products. So you need to identify that which products will you distribute, which products will you produce. And you need to distribute your limited resources among all possible points. Your possible points, let me just show in the graph, all possible. So you need to spend this amount of money with this possible curve, with this possible point. Why? This point is your possibility curve, where you can produce the apples and orange with the properly one with your limited resources. So the last one is the opportunity cost. Opportunity cost, it means that the cost which you opportunity cost, these are the cost which you already given up. And if you get the efficiency, if you get the benefit, that's your call it the economic efficiency. And the calculation methodology of opportunity cost, it's here, like return on best foreign options minus the return on chosen options. This is all the details related to our principles of economics. I recommend you to follow these lectures from giving the references, which in the top of presentation I provided you. Here you can get more details from these references. I provide for Azerbaijani students Maharam Hüseynov Elçin Salahov Introduction to Economics textbook, and for English learners, the McConnell, Grigori Mencu, and the Samuelson. Grigori Mencu also mentioned the 10 principles of economics. I strongly recommend you that to follow this detailed information from the references. So this is all related to the topic. If you have any questions or if you have any comments related to the presentation, related to the lecture, so I can give you feedbacks. So is there any questions? No. Okay, thank you very much. Have a good time and see you on our auditoriums as soon as possible. Take care. Bye-bye.